we gave one answer, trying to figure out what the machlokus is between the Tanakama and Rabbi Lezer regarding this key that you lost. And Rabbi Lezer takes the hard line and says, if you don't know where the key is, it's not an Eruv. The other one says, no, you can, if you put it in the chest, you can still, it's still a good Eruv. So the first shot, we went through the whole thing about the bricks and the loose bricks and breaking it down and it got some ice. Okay, then we started the second terrace. Let's start that again. Rabbi Rav Yosef Domer Tavayu, about 10 lines down, Laman Hayim and Aleph. Rabbi Rav Yosef Domer Tavayu, Hocha Migdal Shel Eitza Skinon. You're talking about a wooden, let's go back to conventional wisdom. That is, we're talking about a wooden china closet, a wooden chest. The Masava Klihu, and you close it with a lock. And now you don't know where the key is. So the Masava Klihu, one person holds it to Kli, the Ein Binyan B'Kalim, Ein Steer B'Kalim, and breaking into the closet is not a problem because since it is a din of a Kli, we know there's no rules of Binyan and Steer B'Kalim. So you go ahead and smash it. Masava Olu plucked it, and the other one says it is an ohel, and it's therefore a more sophisticated entity. It's not viewed as a mere utensil. It's like a structure, and as such would be susceptible to the laws of binyan and stira, rendering that chest inaccessible because you can't break it down. You can't smash into it. Okay, it segues into these tanoim. Yeah, now it's interesting because bottom line, let's say if you didn't segue, it's technically he could have just said it without the segue, but I guess he feels that to make this the machlokes of whether or not a migdal is a kli or an oel maybe needs some support. Maybe it's too big of a chiddush to just say it on your own, so he feels he needs this support. If we can undermine the support, it seems like we've undermined the answer. That seems to be the structure of this Gemara. So it does not seem like it's so pashut to make this a machlokas. Make up your mind. What is it? Is it a kli or is it an ohel? But that they should dispute something like that. That maybe seems to be difficult to propose, and therefore we need support from this Mishnah. What Mishnah? The Tran that we learned, Tika shal gabi shida teva migdal. If a person smashes, we did the Rashi yesterday, you smash upon this chest, or this box, this closet, whatever, all these different types of things that are receptacles that hold things. So you shook the item, this migdal, this shida, teva or migdal, you shook it, but you did it in disconnected from your physical body. You didn't shake it directly, but you sort of you used a stick or used a glove to get it moving, which puts it under the rules of tumas hesed, which takes on the property of the zav and takes on a high level tumah. So hikashal gabishir migdal tamein the chen matarin. He says no. If you indirectly move this shida tiva migdal, you're not going to render it tamei. So what do you have here? You have the same shida tiva migdal that we've been dealing with, and yet what do you have? You have one Tana saying it's susceptible to tumah, the other Tana saying it's not susceptible to tumah. So l'chayr my lav ba'kamifli masava klihu masava oelhu. So it perfectly supports my my assertion that we started yesterday, that indeed the machlokes is, when it's a certain size, what is it? Is it a kli or is it an ohel? So I believe, did we do all the Rashis yesterday? I think ohel, maybe just one Rashi, ohel hu, v'lo makabel tumah. It's an ohel and it's no longer susceptible, which is exactly what we're saying here in terms of ohel versus kli, l'gabe binyan steer b'kelim. He's connecting the inability to become tomei because it's an ohel to the ability or the inability to break into it. If it does not become tomei because it's an ohel, because it's like a structure of the ground, then you are not able to break into it, and that's the same that connects to our Mishnah here in Eruvin. And since you can't break into it, the Eruv is no longer a valid Eruv because you have no way of accessing the chest without a key. So Bai comes in and says he breaks this up, and he puts a hammer to it. Amar Bai v'tizbra. Do you really think that's the machlokis? Do you really think that this is? Look at Rashi. V'tizbra, the time of mishum ohel v'lav ohelu. Do you think that this is the underpinning of the issue is whether you view it as an ohel and therefore it's tamei, you don't view it as an ohel and therefore it's so again the other way around. You view it as an ohel and it's Torah. You don't view it as an ohel and it becomes tamei. Is that really the issue at play here? For Tanya, I'll prove to you it's not the issue. I'll prove to you that's not what's going on in this machlokus. The Tan, as it says in the Mishnah, Hikish the Tizbara, Vatanya, but it says in the Brisa, not a Mishnah, Brisa. Ohel v'niset tamei, kli ve'eina nisot tahar. If you have it ohel and you move it, it's tamei. Because bottom line, if you can move it, the fact that it might have a din of an ohel doesn't change the reality that you're moving it. And if you're tamei, if you're a zav and you push an ohel, and it as a result it moves based on your based on your pressure and your physical force, you're going to become tamei. On the other hand, if you're a kli and it didn't move because of you, you're tar. So you see that being an ohel does not exempt you from the laws of Tumah V'Taira. It might have other bearings in terms of Tumas Meis with ohel with bringing things in, but that's not going to play a role here. So that's not the pshat. And furthermore, ukatani, and I'll reinforce that point that that's not the issue. You can be an ohel and become tamei. You can be kli and be tar. So that's not what's going on in this mission. If it's not what's going on in the mission that we just learned here regarding Tumah V'Taira, you can't then connect it to the laws of binyan b'kelim. Ain binyan b'kelim, but the yesh binyan b'ohel. Right? That was and stira binyan stira b'kelim. You can't connect it because you have no basis to say they're arguing about whether it's a kli or an ohel. It's something totally different. The issue is a totally different issue. And once it's a different issue, you can't, borrow it and apply it to our Mishnah here in Eruvin. So ukatani, and I'll prove it to you again. I'll give you a double-barreled proof. Ukatani seifa, the very seifa of that Mishnah that we just quoted, that you wanted to say is a machlokas about a kli or an ohel. It says nisutin tamein. If they were moved through the pressure of the individual, they are tamei. Okay, whether or not it's an ohel or not, right? Because it's hikish. But on the other hand, if imhayin is sutin tameim, so don't you see from the imhayin is sutin tameim that you see the are susceptible? It is a hikish issue. You shook it, but if you did hesit and you actually moved it directly in a way which would without question make it tamei, they are tamei zaklal. And this is the rule. As the Mishnah continues, other people say it's a brisa. There's a different opinion about the girsa there, whether there's a Mishnah or a brisa. But either way, this Tanoic source continues. Zaklal. Here's the rule that you need to know. Nisit machmas kocho tamei. If it moves as a result of his direct force, it's tamei. Machmas ra'ada tar. If it's moving because of shaking, it's tar. So you see, what we've got going on here is some kind of a uniquely Talmudic issue of Tumas Hesed about shaking versus pushing. Is shaking going to make you tar, or is it not? What's the issue? Well, we'll see. But you're not. Are you really? Is shaking called moving, or is moving need to be really moving? Okay, the thing might have shaken in an earthquake, right? So this thing, if the ground starts tumbling, chas v'shalom, and this thing starts moving, but it stays exactly where it is, but it's shaking like a typical earthquake situation. That is that called moving? Okay, that it seems to be something along those lines because this is the rule. If it's only simply because of a shake, that doesn't render it tamei. See, so I'm showing you. Abaye says to Rabban Rav Yosef that you've got the wrong idea over here. This Mishnah is not going to help you transfer it over to Eruvin, because it's a uniquely Tum of a Tyra Hesed Dika issue. Let's catch up in the Rashi's here. V'nisit she'ena tekua yofa. You didn't. It wasn't stuck well. Ukshamakish boy niseit, and when you bang it, it moves. Vim klihu, and if it's a kli shemuchuber v'tekua or kovid harbe, right? So if it taka does move, it's tamei. Vim kli, but let's say it's a kli, but shemuchuber v'tekua, that's attached somehow. You put a nail in it or whatever, you attached it and it's stuck in its place. Or kovid harbe, or it's very heavy. She'ena nisit machmas saitar, right? So a kli where it doesn't shake, it's tahar. If it's a ohel and it does shake, it's tamei. So you see, it's not about an ohel or a kli; it's about shaking or not shaking. So, and that's that sort of moves you away from this concept of what we were trying to get to earlier. That if it's a certain size, do you view it as an ohel? Do you view it as a kli? But that doesn't seem to be the issue. It's not about whether it's an ohel or a kli. Ukatani nami seifa, next Rashi, and furthermore it says in the seifa the kamaisa of the hikush gabi shida, that earlier Mishnah we just quoted about banging on the chest. Imhayu, your not the own chest, but the box or the closet. Imhayu nisutin tameim. If they moved, they are tamei. I feel Reb Nechemya, Reb Shimon. Even according to Reb Nechemya, Reb Shimon, if it moved, it is tamei. Alma tamei lav mishum oelu. If an oel is not susceptible, then it wouldn't be susceptible whether you moved or not moved. So how do you end the Mishnah by saying it's really sure on really what the Havamina was? It seems like it's so clear. Maybe they didn't know the Bryce. If you learn it's a Bryce, it's easier maybe to understand that they weren't aware of this Bryce, which explains a Mishnah. But it seems pretty clear that they all agree if there's an actual movement, even though it's an OL, it does not matter, right? It's a Hesed, it could be an OL and it moves, it's Tameh. If it's a Kli and it doesn't move, it's Tar. So your whole assertion seems to be slowly slipping away. So, Zaklal, and continuing in Rashi, this is the rule. Nisit machmas kocho shisit esaklios oel mamish, that you moved, again indirectly, let's say with a stick or with a glove, whatever. If you move the kli or the ohel literally, actually, shinit ko mimoshav mashahu, right? So here it didn't really, it's just shaking, but it's saying right where it is. But let's say I actually move it. I take this thing and I go like this. So if it actually moved, no matter what this is, it could be called an oel or it could be called a kli. If I actually move it, it's going to become tamei. If I don't actually move it, machos ra'ada, if it just shakes, shetofach baraglav bakarka. You're jumping on the ground and you're making a lot of movement because you're not 40 pounds, so you're jumping on the ground and everything's shaking in the room because you're jumping up and down. So it is shaking. Is that called Hesed? Is that called Tumas Hesed? Or is that not called Tumas Hesed? Because it's certainly you can see the difference between a thing shaking versus me going like this and actually moving it. It's a very, very big difference. One stays in its position, one does not. So continuing Rashi, and it's because of the movement of the ground that it's moved. Nisid. That's why the kli moves. Even though it might have, separated from the ground, tar. It's tar, the kochohu. So here he's saying it even stronger. One second. Zaklan, this is my also shinit kobi mashava mashu directly. Okay, so even if it seems like you don't even have to actually move it, as long as it came directly from you, it seems like it's more of an issue of it needs to move, it needs to sort of uproot from its position. But if it happens directly, it's tamei. If it's machmas ra'ada, where I'm jumping on the ground and because of the ground shaking, that shake, so it's not me doing it directly to the chest. It is me shaking the floor in turn shakes the table, which in turn shakes the thing, and that's what's causing it. Ava b'shetek min haaretz tar, the koach kochu. That's called koach kochu. It's a secondary force.
Okay, I know these are different concepts, but if it's Shabbos and there's a lamp on the table, and I know it's very finicky, and just like a little vibration could cause the light to go on. So I'm jumping up and down, right?
Yeah.
Am I liable for
bad
Avera because I caused the light?
It might only be rabbinic because that's not the normal way you put a light on. But no, you can't do it.
Yeah, I know, but why is it any different? I still caused.
Because you just the way you started the conversation is exactly the difference. Because Shabbos has its set of rules, and Tumah V'Tayra has its set of rules.
Even though it's indirect both ways. Right,
but rabbinically, I mean the difference is by Shabbos we put a lot of rabbinic protections around. By Tumah V'Tayra, it's not there are times you do, but very often if it doesn't fit the Torah rule of what's called movement, it's Torah. Okay, so it in a certain way there are parallels because it is not going to be a Torah prohibition, but really for different reasons. When Shabbos, it's about you didn't do it direct, you didn't do it in a normal way. It's not about direct or indirect. Is it normal? Is it not normal? And let's say the world would decide that the way to put a light on is by jumping up and down, and that's the way you put a. Okay, so I think the clapper would probably, be.
Jewish guy invented that, by the way, from San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what are we saying is determinative here? Is it the indirect or the direct, or is it the fact that when they jumped and they shook, it moved, but it didn't displace? It didn't. I mean.
So it seems more the direct or indirect. If I can move it from its place, so I don't know. It doesn't seem like I have to. Well, so Bai is going to tell us. But one thing we know for sure, Bai is we're about to tell us what the exact underpinning is. From Rashi, it does seem that it's more. Did I move it, or did it move koach kocha? That seems to be the nekuda. That even if it does move, but it moves as a result of my indirect action, that's not going to be good enough. But we still have to get that. But that seems to be universal. In other words, what Rashi just laid down right now is the universal principles. The zahaklal. If it moves directly, it's tameh. If it moves indirectly, it's tar. So now we have to get to the machlokas because there is a machlokas in that mishnah about tameh and tar. So what's the machlokas? If you give me a very clear cut rule, then what's the controversy? So now we're going to get to the controversy, but this issue has nothing to do with our Mishnah. So we basically, Abaye came along and smashed Rabbi and Rav Yosef's answer. So yesterday's answer stays intact. We haven't, disrupted that as much as maybe we didn't like it, or maybe we did like it, whatever, with the loose bricks, that whole spiel about breaking up the loose bricks. This answer about arguing about whether something's a kli or an ohel, that doesn't seem to hold up. Certainly the idea of proving it from this Mishnah is very schwer. Okay, so let's say we finished all the Rashis, right? So Elam Rabbaye, Zakal Nismachas Kocho Tamim Achas Ra'ada Tahar. Vafilahu Kli, right? So, 1 second. Did we there? Okay. So Elam Rabbi. So back to the Gemara now. So what is the pshat of this Mishnah? If it's not, or Rabbi and Rav Yosef want to say it is about whether or not something is viewed as a kli or something is viewed as an oel. Elam Rabbi. Dekuliyam Hesed Machmas Kocho Tamei Machmas Adatar. Right. But so the bottom line is everyone agrees. If you move something with a tissue box, it's tamei. Whether it's an OL or it's not OL, doesn't matter. If it's movable, you moved it, it's tamei. Machmas adatar. And if you're just jumping down on the table and you make a ganza to do, and there's sometimes these planes fly overhead and the whole house shakes, right? So that's that kind of shaking that's coming from a secondary source and not an indirect source. That's going to become tar. So what's the deal? What's the machlokas then? But here the issue is it shook because through your koach. That's what we're talking about. And this is the underpinning of the machlokas. The Masav Heve Hesed, one says that if you shake something directly with your force, it is called Hesed. U'Masav Lo Heve Hesed. And one says it's not called Hesed. So you're moving something okay, through your force, but it's still shaking. It's Ra'ada as opposed to Hesed. So now what are we referring to? Let's take a look at Rashi and see what exactly is going on here. V'hacha brada mikocho, machmas kocho. Right, we're up to that Rashi, about a third of the way down. V'hacha brada machmas kocho shehikish aleim mamish. Okay, you banged against them, you shook them directly. It wasn't you jumping on the floor, which would be viewed as indirect. No, but this is a direct, focus on the actual chest, on the actual box. Lo nis velo niskan. What's that base? Looks like a different word. Velo nitku. It did not move. Okay, v'lo husatu, and it did not move. So now we're moving into the other territory, where in other words, you did shake it directly, but it shook without moving. It didn't actually get displaced. That's what seems Rashi is saying. Okay, so it didn't actually move it. So you shook it, but you did move it. And it directly happened through your koach. I mean, I don't know, does it mean you created vibrations directly, or you went like this directly, or I don't know, you went like this directly? Obviously with, let's say, a pair of gloves. I'm not sure exactly how you shook it, but you shook it, but you didn't move it. Okay, okay, that's it. That's the only Rashi we have. Okay, looks like we are okay. So that's what it seems, that there was no direct.
It stayed in its place.
It stayed in its place, right? I don't know if he confirms that there in the on the bottom, but that's what it seems.
It should be direct, though.
What do you mean?
I mean, it has to be a case of direct.
It means, in other words,
so
you shook it, but
you touched it with your glove, but it didn't move. It just shook.
Right. So how do you? I mean, that's not so easy to do. I mean, that's a pretty,
How heavy the thing is.
I mean, so you had a pair of gloves on, you went like this, and you kept it in its place, you shook it, but you didn't move it. Right? Is that what happened? Something like that? Or maybe you took some tongs and you moved it around, but you didn't actually...
It didn't change locations.
Right. Right. I mean, right. So, in other words, a change of location does it have to be completely displaced, or it's hard to imagine you are shaking something and it's not. I mean, I guess it's shaykh. It didn't essentially move.
It's a big closet.
What? Yeah.
Imagine you can go up to that bookcase.
Right, and you can right. Okay, you can right. That's
Shake it.
you can shake it and it's not moving. Right. Okay. Fine.
No, but you can shake that thing and the walls will move, but the bookcase isn't going anywhere.
Well,
The
it
books
might
may-
move a little bit.
No,
You
the
don't
base,
know.
the base won't move. The walls will move, but the base isn't going to move.
Right. Okay. Good. So we got it. Baruch Shem, we got the bookcase to give us exactly what we need to know.
But thus far, it will move.
Fine. Right. So it doesn't sound like it has to be completely displaced. It just sounds like maybe even if it's displaced a little bit, might be good enough. But by the shaking, that's not displacing it. Okay. Sounds good. All right, what about our Mishnah? So back to the Gemara, only one Rashi, so we gotta keep going. He says, Umasisa mai mukminan law. So since Abai could have just ran to yesterday's pshat and said, I like yesterday's pshat. But maybe he didn't like it so much, so he wants to come up with a second pshat to the Mishnah or as an alternative to yesterday's pshat. He says, Abai Rav Amar Tavayu. 1 second. I'm sorry, right, thank you. He says, the Masav have a Hesed, Masav lo have Hesed. Right, so is that called Hesed when it's shaking directly from you or not? So, Umasisa Mukminan, so what is, in that, okay, so that we already did in Rashi, is that called Hesed to be shaking it directly? It is through you. It's through your force, but it's not really being moved, okay, it's just being shooken or shaken, whatever. Umasisa Mukminan, so how does our Mishnah then get to be understood? If it has no bearing, right? If Tumah V'Taira cannot be brought into Eruvin right now, which Abai says it can't, it's too unrelated. So how are we going to understand the Mishnah? The answer is Abai Rav Damar Tavai. Abai Rav both say, this sounds like the Gemara talking now. Abai Rav both say b'minol v'kotir b'misna askinon. Okay, he says we are talking about a lock, okay, which is tied up with a rope, which is protected by a rope. Okay.
There it is. What in the world is that?
Okay.
It's a lock. You see the keyhole, you see the
What's
bolt.
the rope deal?
It's tied up so that you can't unlock it, I assume.
Okay, even with the key, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's
Okay, but you can make a lock like that.
instead
you
of
know.
instead of using bolts or screws to affix it to the door, you're using a rope.
Oh, it's affixed to the door, so it
Yeah.
stays up there.
Oh, does that keep it from unlocking?
No, because there's a keyhole there, and that keyhole is
Right.
not blocked.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Right. So you lost the key. So the question is, if you
Well, if you undo the rope, you can take the lock off and get to the bread inside.
Yeah.
exactly, very good.
Instead
Okay.
of bricks coming out,
Yeah.
dismantling because there's no mortar.
Right. Teamwork. It's like that the room thing. What's it called when you
Escape.
the escape? Yeah, escape room. Right. So we're trying to escape. We're trying to get into the thing. Okay. Great. We have to. That's a good chop. Get into this Eruv. You have 1 hour to access the challah. Okay. If it's fresh challah, that might be torturous to try to smell that challah without getting in. Okay. But
Potato cooler in there.
oh, that's rough. Okay, let's see here. So the case is b'minol v'kata misaskinon. You have a lock that's protected by a rope, okay, tied up rope. Uboy sakinon nufse, and the only way to undo that rope, I guess, to undo the lock, you get issues of undoing knots, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to take a knife and cut the rope. Can you take a knife and cut the rope?
Spanish mushrooms, right?
Oh, good boy, you guys are good. Okay, so right, Tanakama's
Obviously you can't do it Shabbos.
Yeah.
what?
It's obvious you can't do it Shabbos.
Oh, it's so obvious.
Well, you could open up a bag to get the food inside the bag. Well, isn't that different than the different?
Yeah, 'cause you're not destroying anything.
Okay, but here you're destroying a rope, not so pushing. Okay, so Tanakama Savala Kabyaisi Domar Kala Kalim Mital Mishabis. So Tanakama holds like Kabyaisi, who says all items are able to be moved on Shabbos. So the knife that you use to cut the rope, which doesn't seem to be the issue, it seems to be the knife and the muksadika aspect of a knife that you were not designating. He says, Rabbi Yossi says the conventional wisdom is all knives, all kalim are able to be used. Except our good friends, the large axe or saw, whatever it is there that's used a specialized purpose. Daniel Boone puts that aside just for special trees. And our good friend the coulter that we don't know what it is, except it's a sharp thing in the plow because we don't live in Stockton. So, okay, but it's a sharp thing that cuts the grass in the plower thing, which definitely has something sharp in there. Okay, so if you hold the knife is not muksa, go ahead and you can enter into the lock and cut the rope. Rabbi Lezer argues and says, no, I hold like Rabbi Nechemia. Remember, he says, Rabbi Nechemia's pretty radical shita back in Shabbos, that things can only be used for their expressed typical purposes. And the last time we checked, knives do not cut ropes. Knives cut salami. Okay, they cut butter or margarine. Okay, we don't use butter on Shabbos; we're all fleishiks, but it cuts the margarine. So, but Lamaisa doesn't cut rope, right? So, are you allowed to use a knife for any purpose, or must you use it for the purpose it's designated for, which is a much more narrow allowance of the law of kalim on Shabbos? And if you learn like Rabbi Nechemia, you can't use it, and therefore everything is good. Because we have a sal machlokas. Rabbi Lezer says you can't use the knife. The other one says you could use the knife.
So this doesn't mean
So
only
it's
based
all
on
solved
Benish
on
Moshes. It's also Shabbos
Oh.
itself.
Right, they're solving it on a muksa issue. We're not solving. I mean, they're kind of,
Right.
it's not whether it's accessible or not as an Eruv.
Well, it's accessible based on whether or not you can use a knife to get to it.
Right.
So it is accessibility,
Right.
but it's rooted in an Eruv issue. Okay, in a muksa issue.
And then if the knife, for the one hand, if the knife is okay for all purposes, it doesn't. You can even break into that on Shabbos.
Okay, it's a very good question.
If that rope was edible.
No, it's
Yeah,
to get in to
if
get
that
the,
rope was edible, you could cut the rope and eat it on Shabbos. And then
Okay,
get
well-
into your Eruv.
Well, okay, let's learn. Is Okay,
Made
you.
it out of licorice.
No, but
Exactly.
No,
I'm asking a serious question. The
I
rope
gave you a
is trying to
serious
get,
answer.
you're trying to get into there to get the challah,
Mhm.
right? You can use the knife, right? To cut the rope to get in is no different than opening up a can, as long as you destroy the can, to get the food inside. Isn't that the same thing? Or am I off?
it could be. It's similar. It could be similar. It could be similar. But again, we're not. You're talking. You're focusing on the rope, and you're saying, what right do I have to cut the rope? So you're saying I can cut the rope like I can cut the can.
Right.
Okay, it could be. I hear where you're going, but we're not focusing on the rope so much. We're focusing more. Can you pick up the knife to get to the rope? We're assuming the rope for sure could be cut.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're not. I mean, and you're making a good point. If you can cut the rope, l'chayra, that means destroying things that are not structures seems to be okay to get to what's inside of it.
Right.
Okay, and even doesn't have to be licorice. It could even be something that's not edible. So
You said it better than I did.
okay, well let's see. Because there's again. It's great to see the Gemara and extrapolate, but again, when it comes to the real halacha, there are many layers.
Yeah,
So but you're definitely on a good track. There's no question what you're saying. Is not off the wall.
But the thing is that here, in reality, it's exactly the same as if you have a box of food, because you are actually trying to get to the food.
Yes.
So it is exactly the same. So whether the rope itself is edible or not doesn't make a difference.
Right.
Because what's inside is food.
Correct. Now, would it matter? That's different. But
Right.
now we don't know.
But in this case, it is.
Yes.
food.
Correct. That's right. So the idea.
That's what he was saying.
Okay, that's what who was saying.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, right. Okay, right. So Michael's point really is not really relevant right now because you wouldn't need the rope to be licorice because that would only be if you want to eat the rope. And,
Well, it makes it much easier.
Michael's point is very relevant because he really wants licorice. He's looking at what was in the boxes. I really want some of that.
Okay. Anyway, so let's take a look at Rashi. So Kotib b'Mishnah Umasisin. Now back it up. So right, Umasisin the Erev v'Maim of Gina. So now getting back to our Mishnah, enough of the Tumavitira stuff. Let's get back to our local situation. Is talking about what? V'Maim of Gina. The L'Kul Yama Igadolhu Oelhu. Okay, that everyone's going to agree. If it's big, it's an ohel. But my Eruv Erev, then why would it be good? Because you're not allowed to break it. E cotton, memsa, if it's small, that it doesn't hold memsa, the magical number of memsa, which makes something more of a portable item as opposed to a real structure. If it's less than memsa is the magical number for a mikveh. If it's big enough to be a mikveh, then it's big enough to be viewed as a firm item on the ground that's solid. If it's less than memsa, then it's more of a portable item, and it's seen as something that you can break into. Okay, well, 1 second. Ikotten she'ena mazmem sa belach kliu. Right, it doesn't hold 40 sa of liquid. It's viewed as a kli. Umay tam Rebbe Elazar. And why would Rebbe Elazar say you can't access the air? Of course, you can break into it. So clearly, we're saying that there is no argument here about binyan steer bekalim and not steer bekalim. Is it a kale? Is it OL? It's clear cut. Is it 40 saw or is it not 40 saw? That's the criteria. And if it is, it is. And if it's not, that can't be the machlokus. So what is the machlokus? You got to come up with something different. So instead of focusing on the structure, which the first teretz did, right? The first teretz focused on what the chest was about. And you want to break into the chest. Here you want to break into the lock. The chest was a regular wooden chest. So kosher haminol b'chevel. The lock was tied with a rope. Okay, you need a knife to cut it open. If you were able to untie it with your hands, it would be fine. Right, so in other words, if you can cut it with your hands straight up, it would not be a problem. Right? What do they say? You say about, taking these plastic things that are, let's say, you didn't take the thing off your brand new tie, okay, and you want to just rip the plastic thing off. So you want to just
Something that has the price tag or something.
Yeah. Yeah, those kind of things, or the things that are on your from the dry cleaners. Okay, it seems like, again, ask your local rabbi, but he seems to be saying if you're able to rip it straight with your hands, go ahead. Not be a problem. If I didn't need a knife, I could do straight with my hands, because why? The ein chaticha sur elba mechuber. Chaticha, the whole idea of cutting and breaking, is only a problem if the thing's attached. Okay.
Attached.
Yeah, elba mechuber. Yeah, aval hachem mekalkalhu v'shari. But over here, even rabbinically, would not be a problem when it's unattached, because I'm destroying it. Right? If you're destroying that plastic thing and you're just ripping it and just throwing it away, then what are you really doing? And that's why, again, don't quote me on all these things, but bottom line is, there are many people say, yeah, you can just rip those things off and it's all good because you're just destroying it and you're not doing anything.
You're destroying it.
What?
You're destroying it.
Which is that is not viewed as a constructive activity. Destroy what right? You're not destroying it for the purpose of using. No, but not without a constructive purpose. It's not, right? It's stira al manas livnos. You have to destroy with the purpose of rebuilding. You want to destroy a hovel so you can rebuild a good building there.
So is that why some people say it's okay to open up the plastic to get your newspaper? Let's say, or a magazine.
I think so. I think there's a connection there. Yes, I believe that's part of the concept. Yes.
People say you can't do that.
But a lot of people. But let's say to get to cups, right? You have to open up the plastic around the cups before Shabbos. So when you have the styrofoam cups, you don't care about the global warming, and and you just want to rip the styrofoam cup. Yeah, on Shabbos, you see a lot of people doing it. I think I believe it's all connected. Yes. I didn't do the research to see if this Gemara is quoted, but I do believe there's a connection there. Ketanya Maseches Beya, Chos Moshe B'Kelim Matir, right? The seals of Kelim, Matir Mafkia V'Chotech. You can untie it, you can take it out, and you can rip it off. So these are all different types of seals that you're allowed to get to what's inside by just destroying the seal. Even though here it's an ohel, it would be okay to rip the lock. And we say there, if it's in the ground, it's also to cut it because it's gzeira d'Rabbanan, the merzik kisoser. Okay, because it looks like destructive activity. Lo sosem binyan mamish. But it's not actual destruction. Okay, of binyan of a thing that's in the ground and it's destroying a set structure. The psichas delas ba'almuhu is simply opening up the door. The kiyum the shvus l'gozol ben hashmashos, and since it's a shvus, there's no gzeira ben hashmashos. So here, even if the chest is called an ohel, we're going to say, so if it's not an ohel, it would be not a problem. But if it is an ohel, seems like it would be prohibited on Shabbos as a gzeira, but because we follow Rebbe, and this again, there's a whole tumult, other Rishonim argue, you don't need Rebbe here, but Rashi seems to be learning that's even if the rope was on a chest, which is an ohel, and it will be similar to stira because it's viewed as something that's solid on the ground, and a structure, it would still be permissible ben hashmashos, and we hold like Rebbe, and since they all like Rebbe, you can cut the rope ben hashmashos. Okay, one second. We finish here.
So it's not only you can cut it on Shabbos, only Ben Ishmashos?
What? Elo l'tzorach tashmishon. Right. So he says, yeah, v'ikar tashmishon shel sakin lo lachta chavolim, and the purpose of a knife is not to cut rope. Hu elo lechem ubasar. It's meant to cut bread and meat. V'ochlin, and you eat it. V'achi pligi tanakama. V'achi pligi. This is what the machlokas is. Tanakama. Let's say Reb Nechemya. He does not bind Reb Nechemya. Hilkach Eruv Erev. The Erev Deval Erev the posik loy lemisna. You use a knife to cut the thing, and you're good to go. Rabbi Elazar Omer in Be'ir Avad. Rabbi Elazar says no. If you lost it in the city, harei ze erev. That will be fine. Remember that Bryce we learned yesterday. If you lost it in the city, you can bring it through the porches in the courtyard. But in the sod that's on an erev, the mifsak mino lomotzi k'rav nechem, because I can't cut the rope like Rav Nechemia, and therefore I'm stuck, and I can't bring it from the field because it would be carrying, and therefore I'm stuck. So it really boils down to an erev problem. But it's ben hashmashos. So why would muksa be a problem? And they say pshat because even though it's muksa, and even if it felt like Rav Nechemia, it's okay. It should be okay. Teretz is here. It's taking the knife l'chadchil to get to the thing. If I'm doing something right on the spot to get to the challah, that would be okay rabbinically. But if it's a preamble to get to the challah, I have to carry the knife to get to the rope. Since the knife itself is muksa, that would be a problem and would not be permissible, even though it's rabbinic in nature. Okay, shkoyach.
So are you going to be here on Sunday?